Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Insectsappeal. I'm Mike Ravinsky, an artist and naturalist with a big passion for bugs. And here with this channel, I just want to look at bugs, talk about bugs, and educate you, the public, about bugs. So as such, people know that I'm into bugs and wildlife in general, and so they often send me photos of different creatures that they find out in the wild and ask me to identify them, and of course, I always let slip some cool facts about them as well. So here with this first show, I'm kind of trying out a new format that can be a little interactive and informative for you viewers. So following that premise, here with this show, Mystery Bugs, we'll be looking at 3 photo submissions per episode, and we will discuss and identify the subject of each one and learn some interesting facts about these bugs. Usually these mystery bugs aren't going to turn out to be anything particularly mysterious or rare, but a lot of insects and arthropods in general, as we know, tend to appear only during certain times of the year or maybe certain times of the day, so they might seem unusual to the observer at the time. Regardless of the rarity, this gives us a great exercise in identifying arthropods encountered in the field and an opportunity to learn some new things about this extremely diverse phylum of organisms. And personally, I think it's a lot of fun. So join me now for our first episode of Mystery Bugs of the Week on Insectsappeal. First up, we have a photo of a seemingly deceased insect taken in Killeen, Texas back in June of 2020 from my dear friend Tyler. I actually knew what this was when he sent this photo, but I've never encountered this species myself in person. Here we see that it's definitely an ironclad beetle of some kind due to the elongated abdomen and the bumpy elytra, which are the pair of hardened wings on beetles that form a shell, protecting the membranous and delicate flying wings underneath. Searching ironclad beetle in Texas turned up plenty of photos of the same ink blot colored beetle. The Texas or southwestern ironclad beetle, Zophyros nodulosus haldemani, is a fairly common sight during summer in central and eastern Texas and northeastern Mexico. They are wood-boring beetles whose larvae live off of the fungi and lichens found on and in dead tree trunks. They are considered non-pest and medically insignificant species, but the adults are notoriously hard to kill. Those elytra I mentioned earlier, in many species in the family Zopheridae, including the Texas ironclad beetle, the elytra are actually fused together to form an impressively resilient shell. These ironclad beetles can survive being stepped on, run over by a car, and apparently can even survive without oxygen for days. The elytra carapace is so strong that insect collectors must first drill a hole through it in order to mount the beetle on a pin. Investing in such extreme defense comes with an evolutionary trade-off, of course. Due to the elytra being fused, the ironclad beetles have sacrificed their ability to fly, most species lacking the second pair of flight wings altogether. Ironclad beetles are also known for their tendency to feign death, a defensive behavior called thanatosis, where the beetle tucks in its legs and antennae and simply waits patiently for their perceived threat to give up and move along. Their splotchy black and white coloration and bumpy shell are thought to mimic bird droppings as well, so it's no surprise most predators lose interest in an invincible turd before too long. Due to the pleasant appearance, tendency to play dead, and docile nature of these beetles, in northern Mexico they are made into and sold as living jewelry called maqueches, a practice supposedly stemming from Mexican Mayan cultural traditions. A maquech is made by bedazzling a live ironclad beetle with gold, gemstones, and glass beads, including a decorative chain leash that women wear pinned to their shirts. These glamorous beetles can sell for tens to hundreds of dollars, and importing them into the US is actually outlawed. It might seem a bit cruel, but apparently many wearers of this traditional living jewelry take the time to properly care for their beetles in suitable vivariums when they're not being worn. Have you ever encountered someone wearing, selling, or worn a maquette yourself? If so, I'd love to hear about your experience down in the comments. Moving on, we have this photo of an imposing looking insect taken back in December of 2020 by my good buddy Chris near Atlanta, Georgia. Interesting to encounter something like this so late in fall, but right away this thing looks like some sort of freakish super ant. But looks are often deceiving in the insect world because that is in fact a beetle. The pronounced segments of the abdomen and those modified shortened elytra give it away. This is an oil beetle of the genus Meloe, likely Meloe americanus, the American or buttercup oil beetle. Oil beetles belong to the blister family Meloidae, True to the name, when threatened, these beetles can secrete their yellow hemolymph, the substance analogous to blood, from their joints to deter would-be attackers. This yellow blood contains the substance cantharidin, which burns and causes painful blisters and swelling when it comes into contact with human skin, so these guys should always be handled with care. Blister beetles in the genus Meloe have been the subject of interest in cancer treatment research, as cantharidin is said to be helpful in breaking up aberrant cell growth and inhibiting cancer cells. On top of all of that, these beetles have a fascinating life cycle. The first instar larvae, called triungulans. Triungulans sounds kind of cute. Let's have a look at these triungulans here. A term that refers to their three-clawed feet will, upon hatching from the soil, group together and climb to the top of a plant stalk. There they clump together and mimic the shape and pheromones of a female ground bee. When a male bee is attracted and tries to mate with the pile of triungulans, they all clamp onto his body hairs and stow away until he finds real female bees to mate with. The triungulans then jump ship and hitch a ride back to the female ground bee's nest, where they feed on the nectar and pollen the bee supplies for her own offspring. It's like an STD for ground bees. Hashtag sexually transmitted triungulans. Eventually, the oil beetle larvae burrow further out into the soil and pupate into their adult form, emerging from the soil to mate and repeat the process all over. And finally, our third mystery bug of the week comes to us from my dear friend Lynn in Alpharetta, Georgia. This demonic-looking insect actually flew in through her car window and hit her in the face while she was driving. Luckily, she was okay and managed to keep control of her vehicle in such a situation. I actually had no idea what this was at first, and I found it to be a bit startling in appearance. Clearly, the subject here was pretty beat up from its collision with Lynn's face. The wings visibly disheveled and the abdomen disfigured a bit. I at first assumed it must be some kind of harmless wasp-mimic fly, which is a fairly common form of Bautesian mimicry for flying insects. But something about this thing just feels predatory. I couldn't help but notice the mouth parts and the abdomen, though misshapen, reminded me a lot of a robber fly. So I searched for robber flies matching the coloration of our kamikaze mystery bug and found our answer. This beastly creature is none other than the red-footed cannibal fly, or bee panther, Promachus rufipes, a type of large robber fly commonly found prowling the eastern United States during the mid to late summer. A lot like dragonflies, these guys are aerial ambush predators. Waiting on a perch for prey to pass by, the cannibal fly zips in for the kill, striking prey with impressive force and using their powerful limbs to restrain the prey as that brutal beak-like proboscis injects neurotoxins and digestive enzymes into the prey, quickly immobilizing it and turning it into a slurpable meal. The best meals are slurpable meals. The red-footed cannibal fly displays both Bautesian and aggressive mimicry in its wasp-like appearance. This wasp coloration can both deter predators such as birds, Bautesian mimicry, as well as potentially trick wasps and bees into not perceiving the cannibal fly as a threat, which is aggressive mimicry. This the cannibal fly readily exploits, and they often fearlessly capture and feed upon wasps and bees, hence bee panther, as well as other stinging insects, venomous spiders, and a wide variety of relatively large prey, including grasshoppers, stink bugs, and even other species of robber flies, hence cannibal fly. I was really happy to learn about these guys through Lynn's photo submission, and oddly enough, after she sent it, I found one dead specimen at work and had another land on my driver's side mirror, sadly not long enough for a photo. Kind of like when you learn about a new car and you start to see it everywhere, or you learn a new word and hear it all the time suddenly. Anyway, I just think they're neat, and come on, what a badass name, right? Cannibal Fly! So that's episode 1 of the Mystery Bugs of the Week. I do hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. Please, if you have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments, and if you'd like to submit a mystery bug photo for me to identify on the show, please send them to insectsappeal@gmail.com. I know, real professional, right? But not all of us can afford to throw up a website for everything yet. Specify on the subject line mystery bug submission and include as much info about the subject of your photo as you can, where and when it was taken, the relative size of the bug, and any other information about the encounter that might be helpful in identifying it. So stay tuned for more mystery bugs of the week, and if this kind of content is interesting to you, please subscribe to keep up with my channel. I will probably be trying other formats of educational arthropod videos as as well, so definitely stay tuned for those. I'm open to other ideas and suggestions, and I'm new to making YouTube content, and I'm still learning, so bear with me, but I thought this would be a great place to start. Anyway, thanks a whole lot for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.